I'd love to know about your journey and how you got to where you're at, to helping people on their journey. You wrote this book. Where did it all start for you? How did you get on this path of and you live near Sedona, right? In the Sedona area?
Yeah, I lived in in Sedona itself for 6 years, and then it got a little too crazy there with things that changed, and so I moved right outside Sedona into a more peaceful area, and that also matches my lifestyle of the present day much better. I live my house. There's a desert behind my house. It's completely peaceful and quiet, and then that it is very um conducive to what I do and my state of mind at this day and time.
Okay,
But
so the spiritual journey really didn't start until 2010, minus your as a child you said you had
yeah,
experiences and stuff.
and but then when I was 17, before I decided to shut down my abilities, I learned how to astral project. With the presence of a traditional shaman, although he didn't teach me as like do this, he would just ask me a question. For example, like, do you know what an aura is? No. What is it? What is it? You'll find out. And that's it. And so I was left to just kind of go look for things. And I learned how to remote view. We were playing
Wow.
with a group that was around that shaman. We were playing in that way, kind of like, oh, I'm gonna remote view tonight. I'm gonna remote view you tonight. And the next morning we'll have a phone call, or we'll meet up and be like, oh, you were wearing this brown sweater. Yes, I was. Oh, you were going to sleep. Oh, yeah, I was. So it was just kind of fun. And then I learned how to astral project because they were all talking about going into the astral plane. I was like, okay, so I want to do that too. And I kind of taught myself because it was the same thing. Oh, you figure it out. Okay. But when I did figure it out, he taught me astral combat. So it
Astral
was
combat.
yes, it was
Wow.
something kind of like the Matrix movie, when your body is completely relaxed, you're laying down, because to astral project you need to relax really, really deeply and get that body, that astral body out of your physical form. And that shaman, I was encountering different unpleasant situations in the astral plane because I went into the low astral first, being on the lower frequency where I was at that point, right, as a teenager and stuff. And I would come back and talk about that, and he was saying, okay, we need to train you for astral combat. And so me and a different student, right, we would lay in really deep meditation, and there were a couple times when we were already sitting up facing each other. If you look at it, it's just two people sitting in the room, but right out, but the vessel, or the astral body has left the physical body, and we are having like a training in the astral plane, and you can shapeshift in there. I was taking the form of like a female wolf, and my counterpart that I was practicing with was like a cat, kind of bigger cat type of being. The fun part is, though, when we would come back, and there were like situations that we had to spar and stuff, and when we'd come back, I would have blood underneath my fingernails. One
Wow.
time I found in that same room, right on the floor, right after we were done, I found just a bunch of like cat fur with some skin on it. So it's not as non-physical as it seems.
Wow.
That was when I was a teenager, so from 17 to about 23, 4. So with that shaman, I was from 17 to 21. And then 21 to 24-ish, I was still kind of doing astral projection for my own, out of my own curiosity and stuff. And that's when I observed the low astral, the upper astral. The low astral we call hell. The upper astral we call heaven. Nowadays, I know that, but back then it was just like, whoa, it's like all these different experiences here, different types of beings, blah, blah, blah. So, and then I stopped and I went into the American coma for 20 years. And by
American
that, I
coma?
mean,
Yeah, what is that?
American dream.
Okay. Oh,
Corporate job,
that's cool. Okay.
getting engaged because you're supposed to. But then in 2010, with Dr. Dispenza's work, and I started doing this advanced breath work that he taught and that he still teaches, and the meditations, and the filters started coming off. I started remembering all this because I was completely wiped for 20 years. I did not remember any of this that I'm telling you about right now for literally 20 years, imagine.
Wow.
So, yeah.
So the corporate world brought you into so dense of a place that you just forgot that you
I
could
made
astral
a
travel,
decision.
and that you even did this training as a wolf and all
I,
this other stuff.
I made a decision to do that.
Wow.
Because
Okay.
right before I made the decision, I remember I was in the Tai Chi class, and after the class, I was laying down on the floor and I was observing my aura, and I was observing the colors and everything, and just that feeling was giving me such an intense desire to not go to that job and face the whole corporate environment. I just want to be in this state right here with the energy, rather than and see the energetic stuff of everything. And then I was like, hey, you know what, this is in my way. I decided that was in my way of being the right lifestyle, of having the right lifestyle, because I was just as everyone else. I was very much brainwashed that the right lifestyle was serving a system that doesn't serve you.
Right.